Video, you will learn how to add and subtract expressions. These expressions that we are going to focus on in this video are adding and subtracting two quantities from or to one another. So this looks similar to what we have done so far, but a little bit different for a few reasons. Number one, we see parentheses. But what we don't see is a number directly in front of the parentheses that needs distributing. So one way you can look at this as if you just have a number 1 in front and start by distributing a 1 through to each, which can help us get rid of the parentheses. Another way to look at it is to simply look at it as combining like terms, where you're adding the two terms in the second quantity to the terms in the first quantity that they are similar to. For example, 4x and x are like terms. This plus sign in between them tell you what I'm doing with those two terms. So I am adding 4x plus x. Our next two set of like terms are this plus 5 and the plus 3. We are going to be adding those as well because this plus sign tells us that we are adding everything that comes in the quantity right behind it. That is what the parentheses do here. It tells me I'm not only adding the x, but I'm also adding the plus 3. So we bring down the 5, we bring down the 3. Notice I didn't put the plus signs in front of them because a plus 5 is just a positive 5 and a plus 3 is just a positive 3. But I am going to put this plus sign in between them to show that I'm adding them. Once I simplify 4x plus x to 5x and 5 plus 3 to 8, I simply put an addition sign in the middle for my answer of 5x plus 8. Let's make it a little bit harder by adding some negatives and some subtraction signs in. Notice, again, I am adding this whole quantity plus this entire quantity. So I'm adding a negative 3x plus 8x. I'm going to write that down so I know what I'm going to combine. And then next I have a plus 5, or just 5, and then I have a minus 4. This addition sign tells me what am I doing with the 5 and the negative 4, which is adding them. Negative 3x plus 8x is 5x, and 5 plus a negative 4 is 1. To complete my answer, I put a plus sign in the middle for my final answer of 5x plus 1. Subtraction is where we really need to focus on this subtraction sign in the middle. For the two addition problems we did so far, you probably would be able to still get the same answer just by combining the like terms and almost ignoring the parentheses. That is not, however, true for subtraction. Because addition can be done in any order and still get the right answer, subtraction cannot be. So here we have to focus very carefully on this subtraction sign in the middle. And we have to make sure that we are subtracting both the 2x from any like terms in the first quantity, and we're also going to be subtracting the plus 1 from any like terms in the first quantity. So we have an 8x, we have a 2x, and what goes between it is that subtraction sign in the original problem. I also have a plus 2, or just 2. I have a plus 1, or just 1, and what goes between it, again, is that same subtraction sign, because I want to subtract the 2x, but I also want to subtract that 1 from the 2 in the first quantity. When I combine my like terms, my final answer, however, still gets a plus sign in the middle because I already did this subtraction. I already combined my like terms. 6x and 1 are my values. I don't want to change the 1 to a minus or a negative 1 by putting a minus sign in the middle. It's a positive 1, and I put a plus sign in the middle to show that it stays a positive 1. Okay, let's try this example. Again, focusing on that subtraction sign in the middle, we have a negative 5x minus the 3x. We're going to subtract the 3x from the negative 5x. I am going to bring down the plus 4, or just the 4. And then I'm also going to bring down the minus sign, this minus sign with the 2. Now, I also have to make sure I am subtracting this minus 2. So I need to bring down another subtraction sign, which is this one. This is negative 8x. This becomes 4 plus 2, which is 6. And then again, I bring a plus sign into my answer for negative 8x plus 6. Take a few minutes to try these practice problems. Now let's take a look at how to set up our own problems similar to those we just did from a word problem. Kelly built a rectangular deck on her house. The length of the deck is 5x plus 1 feet, and the width is 3x minus 2 feet. How much greater is the length than the width? To find how much greater one thing is than another, we use subtraction. In this case, because we have a quantity that we're subtracting from another quantity, meaning it's more than one term, that we are unable to simplify it to one value, we need parentheses here to show that we are taking 5x plus 1 and subtracting the entire value of 3x minus 2 from it. If I do not put parentheses in, the only thing that's going to be subtracted is the 3x. Versus, also, we include parentheses, we'd be subtracting the 3x, but we would also be subtracting the minus 2. So this is not the same thing without parentheses, mainly because we are subtracting. Again, I mentioned earlier with addition, you can actually usually get away without the parentheses, but subtraction you cannot. So here we have 5x and 3x, and we're subtracting them. So 5x minus 3x is 2x. And then we have a plus 1 and a minus 2. And we are also subtracting those. So we have a 1 and a minus 2, and what we're doing with them is subtracting them. This becomes 1 plus 2, which is actually 3. And then put a addition sign in the middle, and our answer is 2x plus 3 feet is how much bigger the length is than the width. If you look at this original problem, you can almost reason this logically, because 5x is 2 bigger than 3x, and positive 1 is 3 bigger than a minus 2. A triangle has a perimeter of 15x minus 7 units. If the two sides are 8x minus 4 and 3x minus 2, find the length of the third side. And this should say if 2 of the sides, because there are 3. In order to solve this, we have to do 2 different problems here. We would start by adding 8x minus 4 plus 3x minus 2 to give us the total of the 2 sides that we already know. So 8x plus 3x is 11x, and then a minus 4 plus a minus 2 is a minus 6. Now we hadn't really come across, I don't think, one like this yet, but here you can write this as 11x plus a negative 6, or just simply 11x minus 6, whichever way makes more sense to you. Step 2 is to now subtract that from the total, which is 15x minus 7. Again, with addition, you could get that answer without including the parentheses, but with subtraction, you would not get the same answer. So we definitely need parentheses here around the 11x minus 6, because we're subtracting both the 11x and the minus 6 from the like terms in the first quantity. So here we have a 15x minus 11x for a difference of 4x, and then a minus 7 and a minus 6, and we are subtracting them. This lovely expression becomes negative 7 plus 6, which is a negative 1, and you can write your answer as 4x plus a negative 1 or 4x minus 1. That is the final answer for the question. Here are a few other practice problems if you would like to try some.